Hi, my name is Bob Jansen and I'm the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder of RES Software. I wanted to thank you for taking the time to learn more about our solutions. We are dedicated to helping you create the most reliable, secure and flexible working experience for your users who rely on IT to be productive. Enjoy this short video tutorial on workspace management.
Let's first take a look at how desktops are managed today. A desktop is typically made up of an operating system, applications, and the user session. The desktop administrator uses logon scripts, user profiles, and group policies to get a handle on configuring applications, making sure the right data is available for applications, making sure my documents are available on my desktop, setting up the correct printer, making sure that my user settings are available, and the security settings. The desktop administrator needs to do this for multiple devices, for multiple users, in multiple locations. This can be a huge challenge. If we take a look at desktop and application virtualization, you'll see that we're now capable of delivering an operating system on the fly using technology from Citrix, Microsoft, and VMware. And the same applies to delivering applications to the desktop, again using technologies from the same vendors. However, we're still using the same legacy tools to get a handle on the user session. And in these hybrid and increasingly complex environments, we typically see the environment starts to break down. So let's look at the challenges when using mixed delivery technologies. First of all, it's a huge challenge to deliver consistent personalization, making sure the user has the right experience on different types of desktop. On top of that, the desired state configuration of a desktop represents a huge challenge. It's very difficult to predict and guarantee that the desktop is in a certain state. When it comes to adaptive security, the challenges are even greater. For example, if we separate the desktop from the user by offering remote or virtual desktops, how do you take care of security? Software license metering and monitoring has always been a challenge. This challenge has become increasingly complex with the introduction of application virtualization. Apps are no longer physically installed. So how do you make sure the right application is available and still compliant with the license rules? On top of that, usage tracking on desktops has become very challenging. So let's take a look at what's missing here and our solution to the issue. It's the user workspace layer, which we offer to you through RES Workspace Manager. The user workspace layer consists of a workspace composer which is running on every desktop. Every time the user starts a desktop, the composer is running and takes a look at the user's context. The user's identity, stored in Active Directory, taking into account group membership and OU membership. It looks at the user's current location, so geographically or whereabouts on the network the user is at that point in time. Am I working from the office, or am I logging in from home or an airport? What kind of device I'm using, like a laptop or a desktop. And finally, the time of day or the day of the week. Based on the context, the composer can expose the correct content to the user. What applications are made available, how they should be configured, what data should the user have access to, ensuring your documents are synchronized, making sure the nearest or most appropriate printer is connected, and ensuring the correct user settings are applied, so I have a familiar look and feel on my desktop and in my applications. On top of that, the adaptive security is capable of creating a secure sandbox for the user, allowing the user to access only the right applications, access appropriate data, securing the device, including removable disks, and also taking care of network security. And keep in mind, this only applies to that specific user session. After doing this, the Workspace Composer renders the user's workspace. For all intents and purposes, it appears as a standard and familiar Windows desktop. The user can now start being productive. If for any reason your situation changes, the Composer, which is still working in the background, will recompose certain parts of the desktop. So this is the concept. Now let's take a look at the technology behind it. As stated before, the Composer runs on every desktop. This includes laptops, desktops, virtual desktops, or terminal servers. We also spoke about application rules, security rules, printer rules, and user setting rules. These rules can be managed by the administrator from the console. The data store can be set up on anything you have running, including Microsoft SQL, Oracle, IBM DB2, MySQL, and even SQL Azure. An agent running on every desktop will actually read the data store and store the settings in a local cache. The Composer uses the local cache to render the workspace, and the Composer then dictates to the filter drivers what kind of security should be set up. One of the great things about this setup is there's no direct dependency on the database. So if the desktop is working offline, the Composer still renders the user's workspace. For scalability, the data store can also be replicated. This means we can scale to tens of thousands of desktops. All the challenges experienced with mixing delivery technologies can be solved very simply. Now you have consistent personalization between different types of desktops. By using the holistic approach of creating a series of rules from the console and predictably rendering the workspace every time the user logs on, you can have desired state configuration, even predict what the state will be the next time the user logs on, apply adaptive security based upon the context and the situation of that specific user, have full compliance and software license metering and monitoring in place.